All right, so this is part one to the series of video we're going to be doing on this Pioneer DJM-S11. This mixer have not been out on the market for very long. And like I said in previous video, there's nothing wrong with the mixer itself. I should say, you know, from factory, have not been diagnosed with any factory default on this mixer, but more like a diligence of the owner having liquid damage done on this side of the mixer. Now the buttons do not click. Like if you hear this clicking, this do not click. With I know for sure is alcohol damage. Sometimes alcohol get really sticky, and that causes all the tach switches in the pad sensor to go bad. Now that's exactly what happened with this mixer. So I'm going to show you how to open this mixer. So far it's very common to how the S9 mixer is open. First we're going to do is try to get these faders out. Since we're going to be fixing this board, all these knobs going to have to come out. If you were just doing the faders, if you were just servicing the fader, this will not have to come out. Just bear that in mind. We only taking these off because we're going to be doing a top PCB board repair. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Now you're gonna need something small like this, where you're gonna pry this, and you take this click out, and the fader is free to be relieved. And then you have this next clip that you need to keep very secure, because if this breaks, this helps keep the fader in, and if this little piece break, then you need to replace this, because that what really holds the fader intact. So let's go ahead, remove all these switches, all these knobs, and we're gonna be back with the video. All right, once we get all the faders and knobs off from this board, our next step would be taking these screws from the top to get this plate off. Now from looking at this plate, it's exactly the same build quality as the S9, which was terrible. On that faceplate, where all the paint from right here will, you know, come off, and some of the letters and stuff will come off. So I can see this in the future happening to this S11 exactly. Now one thing I like to mention, when it comes to this, these knobs right here, if you can get them with your hand, just put your nail underneath, even better, because when you put stuff underneath, you're gonna scratch the surface, and this surface is horrible. It's gonna be easy to scratch, you know, and you want to keep your mixer as new as possible, especially when doing repairs. You're trying to not damage anything. You're trying to fix stuff, not damage anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all these. Like I said, you don't have to remove this if you were servicing your faders, because this is not part of this part of the mixer. It's two separate parts. But since I'm gonna be working on this part as well, I'm gonna be removing all those caps. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, like I said, you're gonna be removing all these screws from the faceplate as well. There are some screws on the side. There are 3 screws on the side and 3 screws on the other side that need to be removed. Also, there's some 3 screws right here. Now bear in mind, if you just servicing your faders, you don't need to do this process. All you need to do is remove the faceplate, which is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and remove the faceplate. See if I can do this with one hand, so I don't have to pause the video. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, it's the perfect time to hit a subscribe button. Something that another tip that I can give you: get yourself one of these little plastic containers to put all your screws, and put your screws separate from each thing, you know, like the outside screws from the inside screws, especially if you're not too inclined into repairs and stuff like that. You want to go ahead and do that. Now I can tell that the previous owner, the owner for this mixer, I'm doing a repair for for a gentleman. He tried to open this, and I can always tell this. This is why I tell people sometimes when you're buying mixers online, how you can tell the mixer being entered or being, you know, people being repairing the mixer is by looking at the screws. You know, look at the screws and see the condition of the screws. And I can tell you that people being inside of the mixer, and that's kind of stuff I run from when doing when I'm buying any used equipment. I look at the screws, and that can let me know what's up with the unit, you know. So this is the faceplate, very identical to the faceplate on the S9. This is the faceplate from the S9. Of course, it's different, so you cannot change the faceplate from the S9, put it on the other one. But you can tell that the build quality is even gotten worse when it comes to the S11. The build quality on that faceplate is even worse than the S9 faceplate, where the paint is scraped off, as you can see that. And this one is not even that bad compared to how bad it really gets. Now, that's something that you got to give it to when it comes to rain product. They use a layer of a plastic wrap or something that really help keep all the writings and help keep the faceplate looking new even over the years. That's why you can look at a 62. If you look at a 62, you can see that the quality of that doesn't really fade out as much, and the paint do not fade out as much as the DJM. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this faceplate on the side. Now, if you was to the step of just getting to your faders, this is the process where you go and get into your faders. You have access to your faders. You have 3 screws. You have 1, 2 in the middle, and another one right here. And then your fader is up. You know, you can get your fader up. If you want to service your crossfader broken off, you want to change it. There are some screws to the bottom. And those 2 screws to the bottom, those 2 small screws, if you can see them, you can take them out and take this front knob from it, the feel knob right here. The feeling adjusts, and this fader is easy to be removed. But before you do that, you have to, if you're removing the crossfader, you have to remove the 2 channel faders. Just bear that in mind. All right, so let me go ahead and remove these faders. Another thing that you need to bear in mind, these are the stoppers that goes right here. They give you different feels. If you want to change to a different feel, a clickier feel, the harder one, they have some hard plastic, as you can see. You can change these right here. You can pull these out and change them. For me, I'm just gonna put these on the side because we're not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these faders from here. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, like I said, to remove these faders, you're gonna take the 3 screws from each fader, and you're gonna be plugging it out from right here. You can't go wrong. The one with the red cable goes right here into the red socket or connector. You have this one, the middle one. The middle one would be your crossfader. And the beauty about it, the color code, they can let you know with the wires color coded. That red is with red, yellow which correspond to this, as you can see that, and the other fader correspond to the white. So this is something great that they did. Another great thing they did was they put this right here to manage the cable, something that was not on the S9. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that cable from there, get that out of the way, so we can go ahead and remove the screws. All right, so once you remove all the screws from the faders, the 3 screws that hold the faders, you can just pull them out. Just be careful with the cable, you don't break anything. You don't break the cable or whatever. Now from this step, if we want to get inside of the mixer now, there are some screws right here that hold the plate. Now the screws right here, screw right there, And this is why you need to take the fader off, because you cannot see these screws when the fader is on. That screw right here and the screw right here. And like I said, like I mentioned before, the screws on the side, you have 3 more screws on the other side. And now when it comes to the back, the crucial part is that you see these arrows. These are the screws that correspond to the faceplate, the top layer of the mixer. So you don't need to worry about removing all these screws right now. Just worry about these 3 screws. And a matter of fact, with the repair that I'm doing, I don't have to worry about the screws to the bottom. Only if I was replacing the main PCB board or replacing the RCA phono board that goes right on top. That's the only way I will unscrew these. The only screws you worry about, once again, is the 1, 2, 3. All right, when it comes to the back. And on the side, on this side, you have 3 more screws. We're gonna go ahead and remove them. So this is what the mixer looks like internally. So they did a lot of the same design from the S9. They took a lot of the design from the S9. I will have to say this PCB board right here, I can see that it did an upgrade. This is a lot bigger than the other one. This is way more high quality than the S9. The way they put this this bracket, that bracket is not on the S9. But they keep a lot of the design the same way. I'm not sure if they have the same power supply. Let me see if I look at the power supply inside. It's hard to see from the angle because you will have to take this off to know if the power supply is the same on this. But this is something I really care about knowing. We're gonna go ahead and find out what kind of power supply they put in this mixer. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the screws for this and see the power supply that they put in this mixer. Curious about that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. When it comes to the Pioneer S9, the DJM S1 and 2, they use the same power supply. The CDJ 2000, the 2000 Nestors, and also the CDJ 900, the CDJ 850, they use the same power supply from each other. So I'm just curious to know if they put the same power supply from the S9 into this mixer. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and find out. There's one more screw right here. So let's see. All right, you kind of have a little struggle. It's kind of a little struggle to get this little piece off. But yeah, but looking at the power supply in this is definitely changed from the power supply on the rest unit. So like I said, this is a new power supply they put in this. If I'm not mistaken, this is probably the same power supply that they put in the Nestors 2 and the CDJ 3000, if I'm not mistaken. So because the CDJ 2000 Nestors 2, they changed the power supply, so I'm very I can be sure that this is the same power supply that in that CDJ, but definitely it's not the same power supply as the S9. Once again, the parts number for this is DWR 1548. So if you need to get that power supply for your unit. And once again, you remove the screws that I removed. If you want to get this power supply, of course this piece will have to come out, and there's some screws that hold the power supply itself that will have to come out. That if you're going into that, the build quality in this, man, you know, they kept, like I said in the previous videos, you know, they kept the same quality as the S9 and the rest Pioneer product. versus Rain did not keep the same quality, in my opinion, as the original Rain owners. You know, when we all love the Rain products. Anyway, this is what we're going to be working on. This is a very sensitive repair right now, so it's going to take my time and do this, but I just wanted to show you guys how to open up your S11 mixer. I'm pretty sure this is the same process for the S7. It is the same process for the S9. So let me go ahead. This is a very intense job right here, so I got to take my time with this. All right, so this is what we're gonna be operating on. Once again, two things that I recommend people to do is put stuff in different containers, separate from each part of the mixer, so you don't get confused where things goes when it's time to put everything back together. You want to keep it as original as possible. Another thing that I recommend is recording yourself doing the repair, so you know to know where everything goes when it's times to put everything together as well. So like removing all these ribbon cables, which is something that we have to do to get things out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and remove this ribbon cable, put this back. These things are so easy to break, it's so fragile. And we're gonna go ahead and remove the ribbon cable, put a cable on the side. Also gonna go ahead and remove this cable from here. So just pull it out. Just pull this cable out just to get stuff out of the way. Now with this, I normally tell people this: do not use no power drill, do not use no power tool. Use a regular screwdriver to get all these screws out. You don't want to use a power drill and messed up things up. All these screws need to be removed so we can get to the other board, which is to the bottom of this. So let's go ahead and do that. go ahead and remove so definitely as you can see the process of removing this board. We're gonna go ahead and this is the board that we're working on. We're gonna go ahead and remove all these screws. We're gonna go ahead and put this on the side. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove all these slow screws so we can get to the pad sensor and tach switches. Just bear in mind that some of these screws are smaller than the others. Like for instance, these screws are smaller. So you gotta bear these in mind when you're ready to put this stuff together. You don't want to put the screws in the wrong place. And that's what I tell you, you know, you could best to record yourself doing this stuff, so you can always go back and see what go where, you know, and you don't make the mistake of damaging your mixer. Because I mean, you're not trying to damage your mixer, you're trying to fix your mixer, but you don't want to fix one thing and break another. That's #1 rule of repairs. You don't want to, you know, go back and repair another thing because you broke something. This cable, we remove that from there. Definitely, I will have to say, I did this same repair on the Rain 72 about a week ago, and I would say that the process on that mixer is a lot easier than this. So now we have access to this board, which this is the board that giving us the problem where it got water damage. Of course, this is your, and you can see where all that gluey alcohol stuff, like this one came off by itself, but this one will still stick to this unit. So we're gonna try to clean this out. These tach switches will be very hard to clean, very hard to get, so we're gonna see how we can work this one out and see if we can salvage this. Is not, we're gonna try to get this PCB board, which is the parts number is DWX4419 or 4419. You can go ahead and just buy this board, and yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and order this board, because I would rather order this board than cleaning this, because if you clean this, you might get away for a couple months or maybe a year or 2 years or whatever, but the problem might occur again due to the fact that it got water damaging. Sometimes liquid get into these chips, and you know, sometimes they don't die down right away. But if you understand how a chip works, you know, water and chips don't mix. So yeah, this is the first process of taking down the, you know, I would like to call it already a legendary mixer, the Pioneer DJM-S11 mixer. How we take apart to get to the tach switches and the pad sensor. So this is a common problem that a lot of people is going to have in the future, especially if you're careless about people coming around with drinks. So definitely this video, I'm pretty sure, is going to help a lot of people. So we're going to go ahead and put that together. All right.